Flash, and it's La Liga Week 19. A few teams have been having a little bit of a rest because of obviously the weather. We're going to get the latest weather from Román. Martin's going to be his sidekick. I just can't believe that Real Madrid played in that unbelievable pitch. Couldn't stand up. 0-0. What did he expect? And they dropped points. The bigger picture, all about Madrid. Further behind Atletico. If you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button and ring the bell. Ring the bell means that we'll notify you and you'll never miss any content again. And I'm giving you word of warning because next week, I'm going to do 2 shows on Wednesday, 2 shows on Thursday, and we're going to go rat-a-tat-tat. And obviously, there's a Premier League fixtures next week as well. And Martin will be back in the studio in a few hours when we do the Premier League. We've got decent midweek action this week. Also, if you press the link in the description, that'll take you over to either Martin, Tan, or Alex's articles, parlays, singles, a little bit more in depth, and every other sport that we cover. Go over and have a look. You'll enjoy it. And it might just educate you a little bit. I'm going to come to you first, Román, because the weather has been atrocious in Spain. You've had this weekend. Obviously, there was a cup final. But some of these teams, they've had a real rest and they've got a chance to really bounce on now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird season because games are taking place all over. Some are now resting because, of course, the Copa del Rey was taking place in the Super Cup, but others were already either eliminated from one competition or directly weren't playing in the other. So it's definitely a strange calendar this season. So some teams get to rest more at some point, then the others get to rest more. So it's quite strange, and it makes us have to look more into the teams and into their physical condition, of course. But overall, the weather here in Spain has improved. I don't think we'll find any situation like that game you mentioned with Real Madrid, where Osasuna, their workers did so many efforts to have the pitch in the minimum decent condition they could, and they did their best, of course. And of course, it wasn't the best for Real Madrid because they're not used to playing in these conditions. But I think Osasuna have played in a similar state, and they knew how they could get at least a point out of the game, and they managed to do so.
Yeah, the old-fashioned leveller. And that's exactly what it was. They couldn't stand up. The ball weren't running properly. Before I go to Martin, remember you're our third guest. We need the 2-team parlay at the end because parlay has been having an absolute shocker that we'll see in a couple of moments. But Martin, Real Madrid chasing Atletico, and I've got to give a little bit of credit to Athletic Club, who beat Real Madrid and Barcelona twice in a week.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal turnaround for them after a very difficult start to the season, and a great honeymoon period for the new manager. What a way to start your career. I'm sure he'll be feeling pretty happy that he's not at Valencia. Yeah, it was shocking really to see Messi get sent off like that. We're not used to seeing that sort of thing from him. I know he's been sent off for Argentina a couple of times, but never for Barcelona before, and it just showed how frustrated he was and how frustrated he is still to be in an underperforming Barcelona team. But yeah, I was sick watching that Real Madrid game. Had Real Madrid to win it. I thought, if they're going to play in conditions like that, you should just call it off. It always looked like it was going to be a 0-0 draw in weather like that, and it screwed me over, and it screwed over everyone that bet on Real Madrid.
And the parlay. Remember the parlay? I said, let's not put Real Madrid in.
Oh, no, that was my fault. Sorry. But I was convinced that Real Madrid would win the game, and I'm convinced they would have won the game if they didn't play in the middle of a bloody blizzard.
I know, and that's the thing, Martin. That is the thing that I'm moaning about most. Why take the chance when you know you cannot afford to drop points anymore?
Yeah, I know. It was silly. It was really silly. Should have called it off, played again in a few weeks. And they've got a big enough squad, and they could have tried to catch up Atletico. Now they're 4 points behind. Atletico have got 2 games in hand. So destiny is very much in their own hands. And if they can put a few wins together, they've got one hand on the trophy. So we're going to be in for a fascinating few weeks ahead in the title race.
Yeah, I mean, Atletico are certainly riding the crest of the lucky wave. They shoot anywhere, it will just deflect and go past. Honestly, I just cannot believe it, especially Correa. He's finding himself all sorts of opportunities. Right, let's have a little look at the records, please, Fab. Parlay is definitely letting us down. Martin at minus 1.24, wiping your mouth. La Liga Lowdown 8.41, and that's nothing to do with you, Roman. That's all Paco and Ewan. flash at minus 0.3. Parlay, I don't know what Parlay thinks he's up to. 12.52, just the one win. He's going to get relegated very, very soon. Total of 22 units. So let's kick on. Let's start off. And these are like tricky old games. But I'm hoping I found a little bit of value that can help us out. I'll come to you first then, Roman. I'm going to start off with Cadiz. Very, very good half of the season so far. Minus 200. Draw plus 215. But Levante at plus 165. We like Levante at the moment. They're scoring goals. Yeah, they're conceding. But they keep going for the full 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's a couple of sides which I think overall we could say they've had a good first leg of the season. You know, the first 19 games or so, or 18 up until now, have been pretty good. They've gotten good results. They're in mid-table, as a matter of fact. And actually, Levante could surpass or overtake Cadiz in the standings if they win this game. So that's definitely going to be a motivation for them to go past Cadiz. And as a matter of fact, Levante have only had one defeat in the last 5 games. So as you were saying, you know, their football is pretty good. They're scoring goals. They tend to concede, but not too many. Usually they concede maybe 1 or 2 maximum. So defensively, they're not as bad. And on the other hand, Cadiz, you know, they're coming from a Copa del Rey defeat, 2-0 against Girona this midweek. It's true that practically the whole team were subs, so they're going to focus in La Liga 100%. They knew the Copa del Rey was not worthy of their time. They have to focus on staying in Primera, even though they've had a good start to the season. They want to keep getting points, and so their objective is clearly La Liga, and they're going to try and win this game. Although I do think Levante are the favorites for this game, in my opinion. They have the better side. They have the more experienced players. But a draw could also be on the cards in this game because, both sides won't want to concede too many, and it could be a reason why they won't score too much in this one, I think. Yeah,
whenever Cadiz play at the moment, we have to start with the draw and then work backwards. Because listen, it's not often that they're going to score more than 1.5 goals. So you think to yourself, okay, you're looking at the unders. But with this game, it does look like both teams to score, Martin, and maybe the away side to pick up something.
Yeah, it's a difficult looking game because the two teams are pretty evenly matched and they're both in reasonably strong form. Apart from Copa del Rey, as Román mentioned, Cadiz have been in good form, picking up results, picking up points against decent teams in the league. And Levante have put a decent run together as well. Beat Real Betis, beat Eibar last time out in La Liga. So I don't know. It's a difficult one. I am definitely leaning towards Levante. I think they've got more quality going forwards. But if I was going to bet on it, it would have to be draw no bet for Levante. I wouldn't feel confident on just backing them outright to win it.
Okay, well, I'll stay with you, Martin. We'll move on. It's Valladolid at minus 105, draw plus 240. Elche at plus 350. Remember, Elche received the red card after being 1-0 up against Getafe last time. We was all on Getafe, so we was happy with that red card. And Valladolid at minus 105 looks a little bit of a gift to me.
Yeah, it does look a bit of a gift, but I'm a bit hesitant after Valladolid failed to score against Valencia last time out. We know what a shocking defensive record that Valencia have this season, and they just didn't really cause them enough problems, which is surprising because they've been better going forward this season to kind of compensate for their defensive weakness due to injury problems. So, yeah, difficult to know which way this will go. It's a great opportunity for Valladolid to bounce back with a win. Elche have been pretty poor and not great on the road. So, yeah, leaning towards Valladolid, but not sure if I'm going to pull the trigger on this one. Better to keep to individual bets right now, I guess, as we've seen by the parlay record. Maybe avoid the parlays for a little bit with the way things are going.
Well, or let's go big or go home. I think that might be a way to go. Román, Valladolid at minus 105. I'm actually not complicating it. I'm going with a home side to win against an Elche side who don't score enough goals for me. I see Valladolid scoring. And also, I think they're going to be a little bit tired because they haven't been able to squad rotate.
I mean, if I had to lean towards the side, I think Valladolid would be the most common or normal pick. But I think a draw could also be on the cards in this game because, first of all, I was checking the records between both teams. They both have a very similar record historically. I think it's like 15 wins for Elche, 16 for Valladolid. Also, they both scored 51 goals against each other. And it's also, let's not forget that Valladolid are coming from the Copa del Rey extra time. So in the last 2 rounds, they've had extra time in both games against weaker sides. But that's, of course, players that are getting more minutes, which is complicating things for them. And we also know that defensively, they've had lots of problems. They're playing badly defensively, and they're having a lot of injuries. So that's all accumulating. So this could be a decent chance for Elche to maybe snatch a point. Both teams have numerous injuries also. So I think it's a complicated one to predict. I wouldn't really throw myself towards Valladolid too confidently, because I think it could be a likely draw.
Okay. I've pressed the button. I've gone with the home side. I've gone with 3 homes this week. I just think to myself, the way things are at the moment, with the way that sides haven't been able to rotate or play too many games, I'm going to go with the home side. Next game, though, I won't be going with no home side here. In fact, I've had to leave it, even though, listen, Sevilla are decent. Roman, Alaves plus 400, draw plus 260, and Sevilla at minus 130. I was looking and thinking, does Sevilla score 2? In which case, I forget the winner's market and just go with Sevilla team total over 1.5.
I mean, it's a game you'd expect Sevilla to win, but of course, I have my doubts, because also checking the games between both sides, Alaves usually puts Sevilla into certain difficulties at times, but it is true that right now, I mean, Sevilla are miles ahead of Alaves in terms of football, in terms of squad, etc. But Alaves do have a new coach. We know that a new coach sometimes can, bring that extra boost of confidence with Abelardo. Although in the Copa del Rey, he had his debut, which was quite something to forget, because they lost 5-0 against Almeria, Segunda team, and that was an absolute horrible way to start at the club. It's true that Abelardo was already at Alaves a few years ago. He did a pretty good job back then, but now he needs to change things again, because with Machina, I don't really understand why they got rid of him, because the team wasn't doing great, but you can't really expect much more from Alaves. I think their squad is okay, it's decent. And also, let's not forget that lately Lucas Perez has been injured. He's their star player. He hasn't been able to play lately. That's an important setback. And on the other hand, as I was saying, Sevilla, they are the better side, but they did have also an extra time against Leganés the other day in the Copa del Rey. There might be some fatigue for starters like Diego Carlos, who played the whole match. So, I mean, I'm not so convinced it will be so easy for Sevilla, even though logic says that they should win this game.
Yeah, and if they are going to win it, Martin, Sevilla, they love a 1-0. So that means you can't even go team total over. You can't go minus. Is it a game to leave alone?
Well, I agree. I think it's going to be a very tight game. Alaves have only scored 7 in 9 home games so far this season and conceded 1 per game. And Sevilla, equally on the road, only scored 9 in 9 and only conceded 8. So each of them is under 2.5 goals when they're playing, when Alaves are at home and when Sevilla are on the road. So you're looking at a very tight game, but like Román said, Lucas Perez is out for Alaves. That kind of robs them of their main attacking threat. Sevilla, I think they're not going to go and blow them away, but they've got more quality in midfield. They really should win this game. Sevilla have let us down a number of times this season because they've got a really good side and they just don't get the results that their quality merits. I don't know if it's a motivation issue or sometimes they're getting it tactically wrong, but
it's the quality in the final third, Mark. I mean, even against Atletico, they could have been 1 or 2 up if they'd have just been a little bit sharper in and around the box.
Yeah. Well, this is what I always think. But then En-Nesyri banged in a hat-trick to beat Real Sociedad. So I was like, what is going on here? I guess I think they should just about have enough to win this game. I got minus 120, I think I got on it yesterday, which was a good price. The odds are going in at the moment. You can get about minus 127 if you really shop around for your odds. But if you do like Sevilla, I would get on them sooner rather than later.
What about Sevilla and under 4.5, which is the old Martin classic?
Yeah, that would definitely get you more value. I would be inclined to go for that. As I mentioned, that 3-2 against Real Sociedad has given me pause for thought about it, given me a little bit of concern. But I think that's the exception to the rule. Normally they're involved in a lot of low scoring games. And I can't imagine this one going over 4.5 goals.
Okay, well, we're going to go to the next game. And the next game is one of those where They paid us handsomely last time. It was Getafe -105, draw +225, and Huesca at +375. Martin, Huesca, they half and they stick together, but they just don't get any type of reward.
Yeah, that was the Getafe that we sort of all know and love. Last time out, they got a bit lucky with having a man sent off, but yeah, it was a morale boosting victory for them, I think. And now this is a really good opportunity for them to build up a bit of momentum. Again, I'm a little bit concerned about the number of games that Huesca draw. I really can't see Getafe losing this game. I think they've got a very good chance of winning it. I'm not sure I really want to bet on them outright to win the game because they've been a bit inconsistent too this season. If I did a parlay earlier today and I actually put Getafe draw no bet as one of my selections. I was just throwing about 5 random ones in, and you can get decent odds on Getafe draw no bet for a parlay, but otherwise I'd leave this one alone.
Roman, I like the home side. I really do. I think that they're going to have far too much for Huesca. And sooner or later, Huesca have got to come out and try and get a reward because they're talking about the manager leaving. They're talking about this, and they play well. They've improved. They're together. But they've got to score goals. And if they don't score goals, then he's going to get sacked and they're going to lose a good man.
As a matter of fact, he's already been sacked.
Has he gone?
Yeah, Huesca's a new manager. He's called Pacheta. He was the guy who took Elche up to first division last season, and he's going to finally get his chance to coach a team in La Liga. So the previous manager already left from Huesca, so it's new ideas, I guess, new way of seeing things. It's going to be interesting to see how he adapts. In his first press conference, he seemed very motivated, very convinced that he could save this team from relegation. So it's also one of those games where we have to see if they're going to have, that extra boost of motivation from the new manager come in. We always talk about this, but it can happen, especially in the first few games, where a team sees new ideas, sees new hope, and suddenly they get a good result. So, of course, Getafe at first, I think, are the most likely side to win it, but be careful with this. And also, let's not forget that Getafe, they did beat Elche, but there was a man sent off, as Martin mentioned. So that's something to keep in mind because Getafe still have to adapt the new players that have come into the system, which are Aleñá and Kubo, who are going to join in that midfield with Cucurella, made in La Masia in Barcelona. So those three guys have a lot of talent. They can provide that creativity, which Getafe have been lacking lately. So that's definitely a positive for them. So it's going to be an entertaining game to watch, I think, and to see what Huesca we're going to find or see in the rest of the season. And at the moment, I would incline slightly for Getafe, but I also wouldn't take too many risks here.
Okay, well, I've gone with Getafe already. Huesca, I think it might take a couple of weeks. And also, I think if they do go a little bit more gun-ho, they're going to leave themselves a little bit open at the back. Bobby, what are you busting my balls for? What you saying? You haven't even put anything in there yet. Put something in there and I'll green light you or red light you. But if I red light you, then don't be doing it. Okay? And also on the Bundesliga show, put it in the chat, put it in the comments, and then I'll respond to it. Okay, so I've gone with Getafe. Next game, I cannot get near this game because I've got to give a little bit of credit to Betis because they find a way to win games even when they're not very good. This 3 wins on the bounce. Yes, I know the cup games, but they're still wins. Betis +115, draw +255, and Celta at +250. A few weeks ago, I'd be all over this Celta +250, Roman.
Yeah, I mean, it's overall, I think it's a difficult card this week. I mean, there's some games which are complicated to predict. And we talked about Celta last week against Villarreal. Did they stand a chance? Would both teams score? We mentioned here that without Diego Aspas, Celta are not the same team. I think we saw that 4-0 thrashing. They didn't really. They did generate some opportunities, but they didn't have that guy to finalize, those chances they created. And I think, no. As a matter of fact, Aspas isn't going to be available again for this game against Betis. So that's definitely very important. Although they will have Nolito back, so there's a bit more firepower for them to use in attack. But still, I've been looking at the stats, and Betis have really good numbers against Celta. They've only had 1 defeat in the last 10 games in La Liga against them, and right now they're both on 23 points, so it's definitely going to be a good opportunity for Betis to keep growing on that momentum. As you mentioned, they're starting to find some wins, whereas Celta just are struggling now without Aspas. That kind of boost from the manager lasted for a few games, but it just seems like it's kind of faded away a bit. And I just also would keep in mind that both teams tend to score in this game. In the last 16 games, they've at least got a goal. Sorry, especially Betis, they always score goals, but that's something also to keep in mind for this.
Okay, so does that mean that we've got to go? I cannot go with Betis though, Martin, but a sane man probably will think it's an unbelievable opportunity at plus 115. Also, rude boy, if you got out of bed and wasn't lazy, then you would have seen that I've already given Athletic Club the credit that I think they deserved, and that was it. Move on, Martin.
Yeah, I'm like Roman said, I'm going both teams to score in this one. Neither of these teams can defend. And I'm just hoping that even without Iago Aspas, that Celta Vigo have just about enough firepower to breach this very poor Real Betis defence. Yeah, the honeymoon period is very well and truly over for El Chacho at Celta Vigo. Shows just how reliant they are on one player, on Aspas. It's incredible. You take him out of the team, not just the goals he provides, but the fluency, the way he connects the attack to the defence, everything, all the movement he provides. They just really struggle without him. But Nolito coming back, I still think they should get some chances against Betis, and they should probably get on the score sheet in this one. But I really do think Celta Vigo are going to concede as well. They've been shocking at the back recently, and the results have been quite alarming. So I'm hoping for a open, slightly chaotic game and both teams to score.
Okay, then. Betis, look, can I sit there and have my money on Betis against Celta? Might be an in-play one. If I see that Celta are not getting bodies in the box, and I see Betis have found a newfound confidence and back to the Betis of last season, then maybe I will. I've got to be able to change. I've got to be able to manoeuvre. Next one. I cannot believe the price of the visitors, but there again, the home side are absolutely flying. Villarreal at minus 175, Martin. Draw plus 300, and Granada at plus 650. Honestly, Granada at plus 650 last year would have been a double chance or draw no bet. Now, I can't give them much chance against a Villarreal side that are really, really buzzing.
Yeah, it's a huge price, isn't it, on Granada? But that's just a reflection of how well Villarreal have been playing this season. They're actually reasonably solid at the back. They rarely fail to score, but they're a lot more solid defensively than I might have expected for an Unai Emery team. I think they've kept 5 clean sheets so far this season. That's not bad. Granada have kept 6, but I just think both teams are really good going forwards. We all know about the quality that Villarreal have got in attack, but now that Granada have come back from some of the injury problems and coronavirus problems that they had, I think they've found their groove a little bit, and I think they'll get on the score sheet too. I'm not saying it's going to be a really high scoring game, but I think we could see 1-1, 2-1 to Villarreal, something like that. So both teams to score again for me.
Both teams to score again. Roman, Granada, are they overpriced at plus 650?
It's hard to say because, Granada are a team that I never know whether to trust because they have a lot of quality. They've shown it, in games, especially at the beginning of the season where they were getting really good results. They were playing great football, but then suddenly kind of faded away a bit. But then sometimes in some games they have that spark again. They look sharp. They look a fantastic side. So with Granada, I never really know where to go. And at first against Villarreal, the home side should get a relatively easy win, but you never know with Granada, So I'm kind of always a bit doubtful and treading carefully here. But there is some good news for Villarreal, which is that Alcácer should be back for this game. He's been away for a long time, and that's a guy they've been missing, even though the kid who's been playing in his position, Ferninho, he's been doing a great job for Villarreal with Gerard Moreno up front. As a matter of fact, he scored in the Copa del Rey, that 89th minute winner with the back heel, which was lovely. You guys should check it out. And then, on the other hand, Granada aren't really good against Villarreal, especially in their stadium, La Cerámica. They've only their best result is a draw, which was last season, the first game, which was a 4-4 showdown between both sides, which was quite fun to watch. But of course, defensively, both teams were terrible. But that was last season. I think Villarreal have improved a lot in that aspect this season. And Granada, as a matter of fact, away from home, they've lost 4 of the last 5 games. So I think Villarreal should get a win, but careful with Granada because you never know what they're capable of doing.
Okay, yeah, you have got to be careful with Granada, I know that, especially with Villarreal being at minus 175. Now, taking the home side again, I've had 3 selections. I'm in an R in over Betis, but I think Betis will be an in-play job. But Valencia at plus 100, Roman, draw plus 255. Osasuna at plus 300. Green shoots from Osasuna, but I still can't have them in defence. Valencia at plus 100. That'll do me.
I mean, Valencia should do it at home. I mean, in the 37 games between both teams in Mestalla, Osasuna have only won 2 of those. So, I mean, it's a stadium where they really struggle a lot to play against Valencia. Of course, we all know there aren't any fans at the moment still, so it's going to be a different situation. But still, it's a stadium where Osasuna don't like playing, even though they might get some confidence after beating Espanyol in the Copa del Rey by 2-0 the other day. Osasuna had a good game there. And Espanyol is basically a first division team. I mean, the squad is pretty good compared to the other teams in Segunda, so it was a good challenge for them. It wasn't an easy game, and they got that 2-0, which is definitely a good result for them. And there's also good news for Osasuna is that Chimi Avila will be back soon. Not yet, but soon, in a few weeks, he should be available. So that's also maybe an extra, boost for the players to know that their main striker will be back soon, that they still have to keep fighting. They still have an opportunity of saving themselves. And in front, they have Valencia, that we all know is just so unpredictable. I mean, I would say they should win this game after all the stats I've given you. But, Valencia, as Martin knows very well, they're capable of the best, but especially of the worst.
Valencia plus 100. That's where I've been swayed, Martin. I'm looking and thinking, well, I'm not complicating it. This looks like a tough card throughout the La Liga fixtures, but then I'm saying there's 3 home games. I want to go with the home teams midweek like we normally would do. And if you get anywhere near plus 100, is it one of those you can't go near Valencia again?
I can't go near Valencia, I'm afraid, Flash, because like I said a few weeks ago, they seem to beat the teams that they're not expected to beat and lose whenever they're expected to win. I sort of had a little period where I was going both teams to score because they're so open at the back, and then lo and behold, they picked up a 1-0 win last time out and it cost me a unit of profit. So I'm still hating on Valencia, and I will be for the rest of the season. I've heard that they're linked with signing Harry Winks, which would be a good signing.
Yeah.
Mata, which would be a very good signing if they could get a bit of life out of Juan Mata at the tail end of his career. They need something in that midfield because they're so poor in midfield from the departures they've had. Making a few signings in the January window might be the difference between them staying up and going down. So Valencia fans will hope that they open the checkbook and bring in a couple of new faces. But right now, at those odds, I can't be having Valencia, I'm afraid. So it's a pass.
God, I was the opposite. It was only because of the price that I've got involved. Last game, now this like not alarms me because I'm hoping that they've got it right. But Eibar at plus 550, Martin, draw plus 255, and Atletico at minus 140. And I'm thinking, well, shouldn't Eibar be like plus 1,000? Does this mean that the bookies are thinking that Eibar can beat Atletico?
Well, I guess they are. I mean, Eibar did pick up a result against Barcelona, didn't they? Which maybe gave them a bit of inspiration to cut the price on them. I think it's a really, really attractive set of odds on Atletico. Eibar have been terrible at home this season. They've got a small stadium and they normally benefit from a bit of a raucous home crowd, but hasn't happened, obviously, due to the lockdown measures, and they've only picked up 7 points from 9 home games so far this season. Atletico have won 5 out of 7 on the road. They're so tight at the back. They very, very rarely concede. And like you said, they're getting deflections going forward. They're just about doing enough to win every game and then shutting up shop, which is what Atletico have done for many years. It's proved remarkably effective. And hopefully for their fans, they've got the bit between their teeth now and they're going to keep grinding out results over the winter and go on and win the title. So, it has to be a low-scoring win for Atletico Madrid. For me, I've got Atletico and under 4.5 goals.
Shock. Roman, give me like a small. I only watch Atletico games now just to hope that they foul. And then when I see shots going in one corner, hit the lad's knee and go in the other corner, I'm like, come on now.
Well, this is usually a game that's not easy for Atletico Madrid. I think that's why Eibar's price isn't that bad. In the last 5 games, they've managed 2 wins against Atletico, so that's not a bad result, and it's a game that Atletico for some reason tends to struggle a bit with. Although this season I just don't see why they're going to struggle. I think Atletico are way above Eibar at this stage in the season. They're very confident, they're getting good results. I think that win against Sevilla midweek was also like another example of why Atletico Madrid, are such a confident, strong side with a lot of possibilities of winning this title this season, and not just because Madrid and Barcelona are dropping points, but because they're doing a really good job themselves. And Eibar also, let's not forget that they also played midweek in the Copa del Rey, and they got thrashed by a Segunda B team, Navalcarnero, 3-1. Very poor performance from Eibar there. So their confidence won't be great for this game. And it is true that, on the other hand, Atletico will be missing a couple of important players. Koke in that midfield won't be available. And, well, of course, Kieran Trippier with that FA ban they've given him for those betting things he's been through. Atletico Madrid went to FIFA to try and get the ban taken away, but they've ratified what the FA said. And now I think Atletico can still appeal in the Court of Arbitration of Sport, but this is a very delicate case, so Trippier might be out for quite a while, which is also a sad news for Atletico and for him, because I think he's one of his best moments in the club in Atletico. Trippier is playing really, really well lately, and they're going to really miss him if they aren't are allowed to have him on the field, of course.
So did he only come back for the Sevilla game?
So yeah, apparently they let him come back while they were deciding on making their final decision, and now again they've decided that he has to be banned. So Atletico are going to try.
They increased the ban.
I don't think they've increased it. I think it's until the 28th of February. That's the when the ban is going to be until. So they're going to miss important games such as the Chelsea Champions League game, etc. So that's definitely going to be very bad news for Atletico. But despite whether Trippier or he's there or he's not, I mean, they should have enough quality to win this game, at least against Eibar.
Yeah, and what about Dembele?
Yeah, he's just signed for them. It's going to be interesting to see how he can adapt basically to this side, because apparently he wanted to leave the French league. He was a bit tired of playing in Olympique. He wanted a new experience, and I think it's probably the right time for him to maybe take a step into a more important club such as Atletico. So it's definitely going to be very good for El Cholo to finally have a replacement for Diego Costa, and it all depends on how he adapts. I mean, he's got the quality, and the question is whether he has that mentality, to play under Cholo Simeone, who's a very intense manager and who requires specific things out of each player. So it's going to be good to see if he can finally be the guy he needs with Luis Suarez up front.
Well, hope is definitely not all lost, because obviously Eibar have had some great results this year, and it's been mostly when they've been like plus 350 or above, Martin.
Yeah, they sure have. I just looked it up, and apparently, according to the BBC, if the Court of Arbitration for Sport agrees to hear an appeal, then he can keep playing until a decision is made. The Court of Arbitration for Sport is pretty slow at making its decisions. That was how Chelsea eventually thought they might get a bit of help in their transfer ban. Didn't work out for them in the end, but they might get several weeks out of him if they can keep holding it up.
Yeah, but they can't afford, Martin. The big thing with that straight away is they can't afford the arbitration to uphold it, and he misses out on the Champions League games throughout March and April.
If I was them, I would try to delay it as long as possible and get it taken over into next season and see if he can play out the rest of the campaign, or maybe just go out and splash out on a right back if it's going to be that bad. If it means the difference between winning a title and not winning a title, they can take Bellerin. Have Bellerin. There you go.
Yeah, they can have him for nothing. Okay, let's have a look at these picks. And remember, 2-team parlay. Maybe I'm going to do the 2-team parlay this week. Maybe I can get it at maybe around plus 400. It's a bit sparse this week, but Martin's gone with Sevilla at minus 125. Betis, both teams to score, minus 125. Villarreal, both teams to score, plus 100. Expecting the goals. And there it is, Atletico and under 4.5, the old Martin Classic at minus 120. Román's picks, Levante, draw no bet at minus 120. Atletico and over 1.5 at plus 130. Sorry, boys. Come on, Eibar. And Flash's picks, Getafe, not complicating it, minus 105. Valladolid, minus 110. Valencia at plus 105. Boys, just like, what about Getafe to win at minus 105 and Valencia to win at plus 105 and that is plus 300 for parlay. And that means that the Flash Man has picked up another couple of winners.
All yours.
On your head.
We trust you.
On your
Do you
head.
trust me, Martin?
Well, I haven't gone for either team, so
I know, but you haven't gone against them neither.
I haven't gone against them. I'm leaning towards Getafe. Oh, yeah, go for it.
Right, 2-team parlay that I am going to be my head will roll is going to be Getafe to win at minus 105 and Valencia at plus 105. Pays plus 300. Now, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button and ring the bell. Ring the bell means that I can notify you and you'll never miss any content. Again, when the way I move the schedule, you'll need notifying. Also, press the link in the description about here. Then that will take you over to either Martin, Tan or Alex's soccer videos. Articles, and also every other sport that's covered by SBR. Roman, we've seen a lot of you recently. Are we going to be seeing you again very shortly?
No, you're going to get arrested me, so don't worry. I'm going on a holiday.
Right, okay. So then when we do the records next week, it'll be all Roman's fault and not Paco and Ewan. I'll see you in a couple of hours when we do the Premier League. Everyone in the chat, please press the thumbs up on your way out. Less than 50% of you are happy with this. So please, thumbs up. Remember the parlay. Getafe, Valencia, plus 300. We'll see you again soon. You take care.
Take care.